Hi guys, and welcome to Logic Language Learning. So this is a video that I thought I'd already done, and sometimes I say things so often when I teach that I guess I feel that I've done a video on it, and this wasn't the case with this. So this is a quick guide on how to really maximize the exchange experience. So what am I talking about? I am talking about when you find yourself a language exchange with somebody who wants to learn English or whatever other language you speak, who wants to practice your French with you, or what other languages you're learning, and etc. So this is really using about 13-14 years of teaching experience and also my own personal experience, because whilst this wasn't obviously the case with me learning French, it is the case with me learning Spanish and Italian, and I did have to do those things years ago, you know, from right to the beginner up to master's, PhD level, etc. So the real key here is that if you don't do these things properly, it's just a wasted exercise for everybody involved. And to be really honest, I've seen so many people start exchanges and they've just died because nobody's getting anything out of them and you're not progressing. When an exchange works, you have, although not a teacher, although not somebody trained necessarily in how to get a language into your brain, you have somebody who is an authentic source of the language with whom you can practice your language and check that you're doing things properly. And it should really work. So here's a couple of points. Point number one, I really like the website conversationexchange.com. If I'm being fair, most French people on there will just want to write emails backwards and forwards forever and ever because they're nervous about talking. In any exchange you are doing, you need to get it up into sound as soon as possible. Now that might mean using Skype conversations or Facebook conversations or WhatsApp video, or it might be just the audio. You don't have to do face if you're not ready for it, but the audio is really important. It helps someone if they can lip read you. But you do not just want to be sending emails backwards and forwards, checking each other's emails. There's really not what you should be doing in terms of speaking and using language. The majority of the people that come to me say, Luke, I can read quite well, I can read quite well, I can listen quite well, I can read quite well, I can't speak quite well. Okay, so that really is the first thing. So you found your conversationexchange.com website, you've set yourself up a profile. Write the profile in both languages. You don't know the level of the person you're going to be speaking to. It could be they're a beginner. Your ideal situation is to have a beginner. Trust me, you don't want someone who's better at the language than you do, or the temptation than you are, or the temptation is that they will always be the one to monopolize the conversation and have to explain stuff. So I've had this experience where I've been the stronger person in an exchange for obvious reasons, with Spanish or whatnot, and it's always ended up me constantly using my Spanish, which is great, but I always sort of feel it's not fair on that person. Okay, next point. Have a standard response saying, hi, my name is yada yada, here, I really want to talk, here's my Skype address, here's my WhatsApp, and have that as standard on a Word document or in an email, so you don't have to keep writing it again and again every time. Otherwise it will just get really boring. Aim to contact as many people as you can. When you use conversationexchange.com, the more you use this website, the more people will get in touch with you. It will move you up the ranks. So the more you respond to other people's profiles, the more your profile will be visible when people do a search for English speakers learning French. Next up, 100% send this out. Here's my WhatsApp, here's my Skype, by all means contact me, and write that in both languages. And if anybody's struggling on what to say, then just at this level, there's nothing wrong with a bit of Google Translate to get your profile going. So profile in 2 languages, say what you want, WhatsApp number on there, Skype number on there, great. Okay, if you need to set up a separate Skype, no problem, So you really need to be aiming to have at least 10 good contacts, because on an average week you're going to be speaking to about, I'm guessing, 3 of them maximum, because people just have busy lives and whatnot, okay? So now let's talk about how you're going to use the exchanges and what's the best way to do it. So first things first, you know I love a bit of WhatsApp. All of my students are constantly contacting me on WhatsApp. It's often why I don't get back to people for a while, because I have so many WhatsApps. But WhatsApp will allow you to record voice and send a voice file. Additionally, so will Facebook, but you might not want to let somebody on your Facebook straight away. Additionally, so will other platforms, but I really think WhatsApp is the best. And certainly in Europe, France and Spain, etc., WhatsApp is very common. So yes, it would be nice if you could arrange a time where you could sit together and talk, but don't forget the fact that you can use a WhatsApp regularly. So there's no problem with if you barely even speak to the person live, but you send your message and then they send their message. What should you be doing with this? Agree with the person that you are going to send a message. You're going to say everything in your own language. So everybody starts speaking in their own language first. This means the person listening gets the authentic, virgin listening experience without knowing what's being said, to see whether or not they can understand it. And then that person will then attempt to say it in the language. So you'd say something like, hi there, my name's Wendy. Well, no, this would be somebody you would know. So, hi there, Christine, I hope you're well. Today, Jim and I are going for a walk. Salut Christine, j'espère que tu vas bien. Aujourd'hui, Jim et moi, on va se promener. That way, the person studying gets access to both your English, your authentic language that they're learning, and they then hear your language that you're trying to practice. They know what you're trying to say. They then, in a response, need to correct you, saying, okay, you say this, you say this, you say this. Okay, and that can be in English or in French, whatever. They then respond with their comment, like in a conversation, in French authentically. So, salut Wendy, je suis super content que tu te promènes aujourd'hui. Hi Wendy, I'm really happy that you're going for a walk today. So everybody speaks, and you need to get your French partner to do this, everybody speaks in their language first, and then translate in the same thing. You can send 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 WhatsApps of about that length, yeah, but if you send a massive long chunk, you're not going to remember what you've just said to then translate. Trust me, as somebody who does the videos in 2 languages, okay? So it would be like, hi there, I hope you're well. Salut, j'espère que tu vas bien, or as best as you can try and say it. Now I'm doing a video for my students about how to do exchanges. Maintenant, je fais une vidéo pour mes étudiants, de comment faire les échanges. Whatever, something like that, okay? Obviously slowly, obviously not doing as well in the French as you would like, but that way they know what you're trying to say. They then do the same thing, French, English back, okay? So you can just do that with WhatsApps. Now let's talk about Skype conversations, or any platform where you are speaking to them face-to-face, or voice-to-voice audio. Rule number one. Get off as soon as you possibly can from the same generic where you were born, where you live, what you do conversation with everybody. If it's the first time you're meeting somebody, have a newspaper with you and just talk about an article. Just pick an article and say, this is happening in my country, what do you think? Or hold up a photograph. Hold up a photograph and say, what do you think of this photograph? Yeah, even if you're really basic, don't just repeat the same, my name's Luke, I've been learning Italian for 15 years, You just always, because you will become very proficient at the same conversation and it won't get you anywhere, okay? So if you're doing this to study for an exam, in particular, you want a nice cross-section of vocabulary. So that's the first thing. So ideas to use our photographs, ideas to use our, what have you done this week? What have you done since I last saw you? Something in the newspaper, etc. Okay, or ask them questions. Generally, be nosy. Ask them about their life. So, same as we just said with the WhatsApp, you can do 2 things. You can either I want to know, what do you do for work? Je veux savoir qu'est-ce que tu fais comme travail, or as best as you can try and ask that question. They then answer their language first, and then try and translate. You then spend a moment correcting what that person's just said in their foreign language, and then you answer the same thing. That's how it works. So it's person speak, person try and translate, other person correct as best they can, they then answer in their language, they then translate, you then correct, and on it goes. Method 2, and I really strongly want you to play with both. People who have made really fast and furious progress. Let's just have a 2-minute silence for what happened to Paul Walker in Fast and Furious. That was terrible. Bless him. So the people that have made fast and furious progress are people who've done both of these. So the other method is to remain in the target language, or to remain in either language, for a period of an agreed 10 minutes. I wouldn't really do 5 minutes. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, and then swap. If you meet somebody regularly, or you only have 10 minutes, then do 10 minutes in the language. And next time you see them, do 10 minutes entirely in your language. That means every word you're going to say will be in French, and every word they're going to say is going to be in French. All corrections will be in French, and you have to really try and sink or swim. Then either 10 minutes later or 20 minutes later or the next time, you will do the same thing, everything in English. Because this avoids somebody who's stronger, always correcting, always educating, always whatever. Okay? These are honestly the best two methods that I've found. Okay? Otherwise, what normally happens is one person will always end up just becoming a kind of pseudo teacher because they're the stronger. And that might help you to a degree if you think your language is better than theirs, but they're still not correcting you properly. So you're kind of speaking your bad, you're making your mistakes and you're not being corrected. So those are the two methods. So say your language, translate your language, let them correct, they say their language, they translate their language, you correct, and so on. Or remain and have a normal conversation for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, in one language, and then either the next time, swap. Okay? Now, why do I like Skype? You can type words out. Okay? You can type words out. It's great to type words out. But do not be obsessed with the visual. You are pushing your ability to recognise sound and handle sound. Okay? So for me, more importantly, is to record the conversation so you can listen to yourself back. So get another device in addition to the one you're recording on and record the conversation. Anybody I teach, they are encouraged to do this. Okay? Listen to how your own voice sounds in the foreign language. Don't just listen to their material back. Listen to the mistakes that you make. Okay? As with anything, you are going to be given a lot of corrections. You want to be given a lot of corrections. Don't take it personally. It means the person is bothered about correcting you. And you have to say to them, merci de me corriger. Please correct me. Okay? Remember the muscle memory technique. You are going to be saying the correct version. So if you've just said a sentence and you made a mistake, and they then go, actually, it's de here, not a. Don't just go, oh yeah, I've got it now. One time of getting it right is not going to erase the fact that that was your choice. Yeah, your mouth made a bad choice. So say the correct version a couple of 3 times. Yeah, say the correct version a couple of 3 times. Just really, I can't stress that enough. And tell the other person what you're doing. So when you give me a correction, I'm just going to quickly say, okay, moi je vais essayer de. Okay, got you. Let them know the technique that you're using and let them do the same thing in English or what other language you're using with them. Okay? I cannot recommend this enough. Now, the problem that occurs is when people either don't have time or they get busy or it gets a little bit boring or this kind of thing. So to keep it fresh, and all of this kind of business, okay, really do sometimes go and do your own research on things you can talk about. So for example, ideas like if there's a magazine or a newspaper in your area and they have a set interview, if there's an interview with a celebrity, ask the person the same questions. I always like the Evening Standard, the back of the Evening Standard here, the London newspaper, there's a set interview. I think that's quite cool for someone you're talking to. Just get it off straight away. Where are you from? What have you had for dinner? What are you doing at school? Get it away from that as soon as possible. I used to have a video, and I can't